Do you like co-ops? Do you like action RPGs? Do you like survival crafting? Have you been looking for a co-op survival crafting action RPG set in a massive open world? Would you like Enshrouded? Watch on and find out. My name is Thoraxe, and this is Strategy for Busy People. If you've got a few minutes, I'll tell you what to play. I like survival crafting games, and I have spent a lot of time across many of these titles. Enshrouded by Keen Games GmbH had been on my list, and I recently had an opportunity to give it a try. I put just over 8 hours into exploring this early access title. Note that I originally played this game in the April 2025 timeframe just after the Pact of the Flame update. Also note that you might see some puzzle spoilers if you pay too close attention. Now, if you've seen any of my reviews, you know my shtick. This is a survival crafting game, so it should be no surprise that you basically start out naked. And it's also an action RPG, so it should also be no surprise that you basically have no skills to start with. The one thing that I will immediately give Enshrouded kudos for is that it immediately starts guiding you through what you should be doing and doesn't really force you to guess at all that much. If you watched my review of Valheim, you know that I absolutely hated it, mostly because nothing was all that obvious or emergent, and I really like when the game shows itself to you in a way that doesn't feel like a rote tutorial. Enshrouded definitely has that. Pretty quickly, you are building your first structure, but I have to say, while this is billed as a survival crafting game, in these first 10 hours of play, I basically only built one house and kept adding some beds to it. The previews of this game show quite a lot of development, but I'm not really sure how necessary that would be in the long run. Usually in these games as well, you start to learn some advanced cooking recipes that do fancier things for you, but I was pretty much just eating grilled meat and cooked mushrooms. So let's divert and talk a little bit more about your base. As you first start, you can basically only build a bed and some rudimentary weapons. One of your early quests suggests that you go find a survivor, a blacksmith, who might be able to help you. This blacksmith ends up becoming someone who can join your camp. You might think, oh, hey, people in my camp? I am looking forward to managing staff. But in reality, they just wander around and shout things at you. They're pretty much just a mobile crafting station for advanced goods, and they may or may not come with some fixed crafting stations of their own. It's kind of like a people-based supply chain. The blacksmith earns you the forge and the charcoal pit, so you make charcoal to feed the forge and then put in the metal scraps to make metal sheets. But then you have to bring all your goods to the mobile crafting station called the blacksmith to actually have him make something. I guess this is fine. But each of these survivors more or less has the same story. You go on a mission to find them, you instantiate them at your base, give them a bed, and then build whatever fixed crafting station they require to enable you to make the source materials to make the fancier crafting items. Speaking of stories, I've gone on this long and haven't even told you the premise of the game. There's this dark fog that has enveloped all kinds of areas of the map, and if you blow up these weird pods, it makes some of the fog go away. You have a death countdown timer that ticks away while you're in the fog, so it adds this element of urgency to do whatever you gotta do before the clock runs out. There are some ways you can extend your fog survivability with equipment, skills, or what have you. Ultimately, the goal is to destroy as much of the bosses and fog-making stuff as you can to save the world. This is also fine. One of the interesting features of this game is that there are quite a few different types of character builds you can do, and they have also optimized these for co-op play. So you might have a tank that is good for taking damage, and then a healer that can fix your tank. I'm usually a weenie when I play most games, so you might not be surprised to see that I went down the battle mage path, which is basically a ranged combat magic user. But what makes this interesting is that the food mechanics are somewhat also matched to the different character builds. You have 3 consumable buff slots as well as an overall rested modifier. Sleeping in comfy surroundings nets you a longer rested benefit, which keeps your stamina meter fuller for longer. Then you can stack consumable benefits, which can enhance your abilities. Wand damage, for example, is directly related to intelligence, and certain cooked mushrooms give you an intelligence buff, directly increasing your wand damage. Don't eat the uncooked mushrooms. Those definitely will not buff your intelligence. So, anyway, you basically can play this game of mix and match on consumables to buff your character in the best way possible for whatever your playstyle and character class are. This was pretty interesting. It's not a completely unique mechanic. Even Icarus had various buffs related to consumables. But it felt refreshing in the way that it was applied. Overall, the pace of this game on the default difficulty setting was just fine. Most of the time that I died was either because I was trying something new or because I wasn't paying enough attention, so that's on me. But the respawning mechanic and picking up your old stuff was generally easy enough. This game also heavily leans into the open world aspect with lots of interesting side quests, hidden in interesting locations, and a fair bit of puzzles. Make sure to look around and especially look up. Make sure to smash things and look behind them. You never know when a chest may appear. Anyway, all the other typical things are here too. Lots of different armors, upgradable equipment, equipment rarity, equipment levels, and so on and so forth. Before I give my final verdict, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to share it with your friends. Agree with me, disagree with me, or want to see other content? Let me know in the comments below. Want to try this game yourself? Check out my humble affiliate link below. And if you want to support me in making more of these videos, become a patron on Patreon. Your support really makes a difference. The final verdict. As a solo player with no friends, this game is a little bit lonely. While it does have fast travel, you are frequently going a long way, even from fast travel points, to get to your destination. If you really want to finish the story, there is definitely plenty of it, and the developers have a lot of additional content planned. For still being in early access, the game has baked long enough to be very complete, and the graphics performance is reasonable at 4K resolution with the GTX 3080. On my trademark 3-point score scale of avoid, meh, and I forgot to eat, I certainly consumed lots of grilled wolf, roasted mushrooms, and drank plenty of water. I'm torn between a meh and having forgotten to eat, but honestly, I did find myself doing several extended playthroughs where I should have been doing something else. So, Enshrouded, you get the burgers this time. But maybe I'll need to find some friends to team up with to give it a more serious go. Hey, at least this wasn't another Valheim.